I.S.U.P.K.
When the woman, as they think it's hell coming outside of the house, the mother say, come to the window. And she said, you see that thing with the American flag that they say we got to salute? You see that thing with the American flag on it? They're shooting bullets into the house. That's Black Wall Street. So when I saw that, I told Kadazai, I said, we need to bring some history out. So Kadazai has an excellent article that he's going to bring out. You got it, Kadazai.
You understand? Now, we take a look about what happened on June 1st, 1921. And this right here, you want to take this? You got the article? So, you understand, when we take a look, especially that, this is what's so disgusting. You understand? They turn around and they want to talk about what happened where, over at that gay club in Orlando. They said that was the worst atrocity since 9/11.
They did.
You understand that? Or damn near in our nation's history.
Right.
Which goes to show you just how disgusting it was, because they forget about what happened in Black Wall Street.
That's right.
And this article that I got here, this is like, you understand that? Like, I mean, a lot of research went into this to get the true numbers, because you know they always try to downplay it. You know, they always try to downplay the death toll and try to sweep everything under the rug. And once again, as Cap always brings out, because the white man is like that deaf adder, man.
Yeah.
He doesn't hear, he doesn't feel anybody else's pain. He don't hear our pain. Thing that he knows is whatever happens to him. What's going to advance his nation?
Right.
What's going to make America rise? What's going to make all these things happen? So now we're going to get into a little bit of history about not only what happened in Black Wall Street, it was like before they destroyed it.
I got it.
You understand that? You guys?
Yeah. What happened to Black Wall Street on June 1st, 1921? A child rescuer on June 1st, 1921, with whites out to kill them, blacks could rely on no one but each other.
And there was a time where that's all we had, because white folk couldn't stand the sight of us. So we had to stick together. And you can thank Martin Luther King for destroying the unity that we had, trying to integrate into America so much.
That's right. Black Wall Street, the name fittingly given to one of the most affluent all-black communities in America.
And notice they said one of them, because not only was there Rosewood, also destroyed by white folks, but when you come down into the South, when you drive through 95, when you drive through the majority of these highways and stuff like that, these were areas. They keep calling hanging up. These were areas that used to have black cities, just like, guess what? I forgot the name of it. Damn, man, I wish I could remember right now. It's at the tip of my tongue. Over there in Central Park. That was an entire neighborhood of black folk that they came through with bulldozers and terrorized these something village. It's something I can never remember it. And just like they destroyed that village, so that this way white people can come and gentrify Harlem. What's up? Something like that. Let's get the exact name. I don't want to go on a guess. You understand? Just like they destroyed that town, that village, that
Seneca
black people.
Village.
One more time. Seneca Village over there in Harlem, man. And I spoke to a sister and she told me all about it. You understand? They destroyed it, man, so they can build their little pond there. So white people can jog and walk their dogs there. And so that this way they can get further and further into Harlem till they're building Burlington Coat Factory. And until they're getting us out of there to the point where I guarantee you by this time next year, and when we go out on the streets of 125th Street, we're going to be having Times Square battles. What do I mean by that? white people are going to feel safe and comfortable enough to battle us, because they don't battle us now. They still looking around like, yeah, it's not completely ours yet.
Right.
You understand? Which is why they won't say nothing. And they be looking around like nobody's going to say nothing. They just called me a dog. You understand? And that's the problem. That's what they did to all the Black Wall Streets that were in America.
America, excuse me, was bombed from the air and burned to the ground by mobs of envious whites.
Now, why were the white people envious, man? Because you understand, this is 1921. What was going on in the 1920s? America was dipping into a Great Depression. But while Black Wall Street was rising, while the Harlem Renaissance was rising, while the Madam C.J. Walkers, the first millionaire in America was a black woman out in Harlem, they were sitting there going into a Great Depression. And this is what's even crazier. They were only at what, a 25% unemployment rate. They want to say that black males today is what, 51%. And they want to talk about a Great Depression. That's why they was talking about a recession. Black and Hispanics was like, what recession?
Right.
We
that bugged me out a little bit too in 2000 when they were talking about we in the Great Depression after 9/11 and all of that. Like, our state didn't change just because the white. It's damn near like that phrase, we sick. That's what the black people took on, was we sick.
Right.
When we was always poor and in a struggling state, it ain't changed because my condition didn't change because of 9/11, and neither did the black people that was around me condition change. But everybody said, "Oh, it's a Great Depression." It bugged me out, man. You got it.
And you even notice whenever the attacks come from Arabs, they ain't attacking the hood. That pipe bomb that went off in Jersey was going off at a Marine rally with white people. Same thing when them pressure cookers went off. It was what, downtown? Midtown? They ain't bothering us because they know black people ain't the ones flying them Predator drones. You understand? They didn't build them Predator drones. They ain't got nothing. Maybe they did. I don't know. They still
and you know the saddest part, what you just said, like when the Arabs ain't doing that, when Hitler and them was bombing too, everybody used the same thing. It's damn near like on the left-hand side, on the evil side, the devil was trying to tell us we wasn't supposed to be fighting this devil. Like, now, the Germans was doing it not because they like black people, don't get it wrong. They just didn't want us supporting the American white. But they was right in the sense of, why are we fighting for the American government when the American government is killing us? Same thing with the Japanese. The Vietnamese used to say the same thing. The Vietnamese used to say, why y'all over here fighting against us when they're slaughtering y'all over there?
Right.
And the heavy part is, after the war was over with the Vietnamese, the Americans sold black people to the Vietnamese. Now, you're going to say slavery was over. I ain't talking about slavery. I'm talking about your businesses and your community was now sold to the very people that at one point you were fighting them for the white man.
Right.
Same thing with the Arabs. The Arabs will say the same thing. The Arabs like to say, we brother, we brother, we brother. Right. They saying we brother not because they think you their brother, but because the same devil that's killing you is killing them.
Right.
Here's the sad part. You go fight them wars for the white man against the Arabs, thinking that the white man's going to love you. And then after the war is over, and even during the war, the white man makes treaties with the Arabs, and who does he sell? You again.
Right.
Your business, Crown Chicken is now Arab chicken.
Right.
It's the Arab spot.
Right.
Dunkin' Donuts or the hair care products is not owned by us no more. Ezra in the Old Testament. Now, our hair care products the stores ain't run by us. Chinese restaurants, it's damn near every other corner.
Right.
They ain't got enough cats and dogs in the neighborhood. That's why you don't see a lot of them stray animals no more.
Right.
Before the Chinese made it to the you used to see stray animals all day. You don't see no stray animals no more because they sold you. That's the problem. We don't even see that this experiment called America is not our rest. The house that we're supposed to build is the Most High's house. You got it.
And even worse is that it says it was bombed from the air. You understand this is the first aerial assault in history was done. Now, this is what's crazy, too, because they want to say, oh, it's all America.
Right.
Well, it was white American citizens who bombed black American citizens. It was domestic terrorism. The real terrorists is white people. You understand? That is the new. You are more likely to be killed by a white male than you are to be killed by ISIS if you black.
Right.
Point blank, period. I mean, how do I know? There's been more executions caught on tape from police officers murdering our people than there has been ISIS. And ISIS got them good cameras. They shooting music video style executions. I watched one of them. I was like, who is that cameraman?
Right.
That damn near out doing nothing. They got the angle. We need another. I seen that one ISIS video. I turned the camera. I said, we need another camera.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I told the camera shock. He's like, we're getting a drone. He's like, we're gonna film from the air.
You get that aerial shot down.
Big up the Captain Mashak. You understand? So now to continue a little bit further in what was going on and what it was like before they bombed it and why these devils were so envious. You gotta get you want me to take.
Okay.
In a period spanning fewer than 12 hours, a once thriving black business district in northern Tulsa lay smoldering, a model community destroyed, and a major African-American economic movement resoundingly diffused.
And you understand that? And now, not only that, don't think this is the first time they done blew up a house. What they do to Fred Hampton over in Chicago? What they do to that neighborhood over in Philadelphia, man? You understand? They pulled children from this wreckage, from all three wreckage. White man is a merciless bastard, man.
Right. The night's carnage left some 3,000.
So how many?
3,000.
This is what I want to know. How many people died in 9/11?
3,000.
You understand? And since 9/11, they killed what, 6 million people over in the Middle East?
That's a Holocaust.
You understand? Oh, you understand that? Because they murdered 3,000 of our people, and yet a handful of homosexuals over in Orlando. That's what we crying about.
Right.
You understand that? We crying over that. What about the 3,000 so-called African Americans who died inside Tulsa just because we had a little bit of money?
Right. The night's carnage left some 3,000 African Americans dead and over 600 successful businesses lost.
Now that makes me sick because
600
because about 2 years ago I went on a mission with officers of the car throughout Harlem to try to find the last remaining black businesses. And what was crazy was I'm going to one address, it's closed. I go to another address, no, they're gone too. I found literally 4. You understand? I found about 4. And it was hard to come by, and they all owned by the same brother on the same strip. That chocolate lounge, the clothing store next to it, and the other lounge across the street.
Right.
And Man and Soul Food sold to the Koreans. Everything else is Starbucks and who God knows what. You understand? Cohen's, as if that ain't a Jewish name. 600 successful businesses were lost. Like, you understand? Matter of fact, it's gonna list them.
Damn right. 600 successful businesses lost. Among these were 21 churches,
those can go.
21 restaurants, 30 grocery stores, 2 movie theaters, a hospital, a bank, a post office, libraries, schools, law offices, a half dozen private airplanes, and even a bus system.
You understand that we had our own.
And this is in the 20s.
Right.
Slavery, they supposedly abolished slavery in the late 1800s.
Right.
In less than, now, it's in 1921 when they destroyed it. So that means they was building that years removed from slavery.
50 years.
In 50 years' time, we built a city. Just now, we got plenty of them. But just in one city, 600 successful businesses inside of 50 years. Now, 1964 was when they gave us civil rights. Was it 2016?
Right.
Ain't that that's about 52 years.
Right.
52 years of civil rights, and the ghettos are up. Ghettos are destroyed. Drug dealers on the corner. Now, you know what the difference between 1921 and 1964? Segregation.
Right.
That's why 2nd Ezra 8 and 83 says we should not seek to have peace with them, that we may be strong. We got weak with integration.
That's the scripture.
Oh, so I
just
no, go ahead. I didn't know. My bad. I'm sorry.
No sweat. Now, and what's even crazy is that how do you think the aerial attack happened on our people?
Right.
They hijacked our airplanes.
Right.
And bombed our city with our own planes at our own airstrip. Right. And blew up these hospitals and grocery stores and movie theaters and banks and post office and libraries and law offices. You understand? We used to have these skills. We used to have all of this. You understand that? And now we're about to get into is that this is what's crazy. We're about to get into what this city was really like prior to integration and why it's so important that we segregate again. Why it's so important that we strive to join our own brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
As could have been expected, the impetus behind it was the infamous Ku Klux Klan working in consort with ranking city officials and many other sympathizers.
Meaning the entire town.
Absolutely.
Meaning that not only was it civilians, not only was it the KKK who just so happened to be civilians who wear hoods, but police officers.
Right.
You understand that? But mayors.
Right.
But councilmen.
Right.
But all the adjoining white cities that were around there.
Right. The best description of Black Wall Street would be to compare it to a mini Beverly Hills.
A mini Beverly Hills, and everybody want a house in the hills, man.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that? You want. Oh, listen, I only know this because of Captain Todd Walker. He made a track called, where the F is at Calabasas. that's right down the hill from Beverly Hills, because that's where everybody wants to be at. That's where everybody's shopping. That's where all the $1 million houses is at.
That's right.
This was a mini Beverly Hills, man.
Right. It says, it was the golden door of the Black community during the early 1900s.
The golden door.
And it proved that the African Americans could create a successful infrastructure.
Why? Because we were only dealing with ourselves.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what Onyx mean when they say all we got is us. That's what Black Wall Street was all about. The dollar circulated 36 to 100 times, sometimes taking a year for currency to leave the community.
Now, this is what gets me sick is the next statistic.
Now a dollar leaves the Black community in 15 minutes.
Every 15 minutes, because when you go to Dunkin' Donuts,
Yeah.
When you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you give the East Indians their money, they take it back to Queens.
Right.
When you go down, or you know what I'm saying, when you go down to the Korean spot, they're taking it back to Chinatown.
Right.
Nobody's putting the monay back into the community.
Right.
And I guarantee you, the 4 Black businesses that's on, they ain't doing it either.
That's right.
They're going and shopping down Saks and Fifth Avenue. Right?
That's right.
Go ahead.
That's what Black Wall Street was all about. Excuse me. Now, as for resources, there were PhDs residing in Little Africa. Black attorneys and doctors. One doctor was Dr. Berry, who owned the bus system. His average income was $500 a day. Hefty pocket change in 1910. That's 1910.
You understand that?
1910.
500 a day. Yeah, that was some serious bread.
Mm-hmm.
You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Now this is what's crazy now.
It was a time when the entire state of Oklahoma had only 2 airports. Yet 6 Blacks owned their own planes.
You understand that?
And they didn't need Creflo Dollar's church to resurrect their plane.
Right.
It was a very fascinating community. The mainstay of the community was to educate every child. Nepotism was the one word they believed in.
Now, if you don't know what nepotism is what all rich white folks do. Nepotism is taking care of, for example, if I'm a CEO and you understand, and Bill Gates' son comes through because of nepotism, you understand that? Now, provided if I was a devil, what am I going to do? I'm going to take care of him because not only is he from my nation, but what else? But he's got a reputation. Well, that's what we did.
Right.
We took care of our own. If nepotism is when your people only care about your own people to the point where, check this out, this is what's crazy. It's going to talk about if a house burned down, the neighbors had so much money that they would be able to pool it together to help that neighbor.
And you know why they did that? Because back then, Black people had something that no Black person has today: compassion.
Right.
Black people don't even know what compassion is. We've been beat down and oppressed by this devil so much, we only love what he love and hate what he hate. We don't have compassion on brothers at all. We don't have compassion on sisters. That's what, it ain't got nothing to do with the money. Now, of course, they got the money, so it's easy for them to do it. But even if they didn't have the money at that time, they would still pull the resource. And if they couldn't build that house, they would do something for that family, because we had compassion, because we knew who the enemy was. We knew who it was. That's why.
Right here, Black Wall Street was a prime example.
Black Wall Street was a prime example of the typical black community, which is very important. Black Wall Street was one of the richest and wealthiest, but it says it was the typical black community, which is the focal point. The focal point is black community. That's why I always make that point. Anybody battling me on whether integration was better than segregation, you'll lose that battle all day. Because what most people use to win that argument is an economic standpoint. What I use to win that argument is a moral standpoint. And that moral standpoint will always trump your economics. How do I know? You could argue with me all day about economics and money and millions of dollars, but you can't argue with me the lives that are lost yearly thanks to integration. The drug addicts that are existing thanks to integration. The abortion clinics that are existing thanks to integration. The businesses we don't have thanks to integration. Arabs came over here, they keep their culture, their businesses. Chinese culture, businesses. Japanese culture, businesses. Everybody got an economic plan with the white man and keep their culture. We call ourselves having an economic plan with the white man, which we don't have. And we lost our culture. That's why that's important when it says Black Wall Street was a prime example of the typical black community that did business, but it was in an unusual location.
And that's because the white man's the devil too.
Yeah.
But to find out why I was here.
You see, at the time, Oklahoma was set aside to be a black and Indian state.
At the time, what happened? White man went back on his word again.
Right.
Yeah.
There were over 28 black townships there.
It was over 28. Go ahead.
1/3 of the people who traveled in the terrifying Trail of Tears.
If you know anything about that, the bastard who's on the $20 bill.
Yeah.
You understand? Andrew Jackson. You understand? Whoever the hell these devils. I can't. They all look the same. You understand? You take a look at any one of these devils. He created the Trail of Tears, which was what? It was thousands of our people traveling. You know what I'm saying? Barefoot through the snow, and hundreds, if not thousands, of them dying. And this is where they remigrated them to. So this was a city filled with blacks and North American Indians. And what's the one thing that you always happen? North American Indians, black people, and Hispanics always end up in the same boat because we're the same people.
That's right.
Because we're the 12 tribes of Israel, man.
That's right.
Straight up and down.
That's
so
right.
now you're trying to find out that this city was only built because the white man is the devil and murdered people and migrated them and damn near gentrified them from their area over here.
No sweat. Between 1830 and 1842 were black people. The citizens of this proposed Indian and black state chose a black governor and treasurer from Kansas named McDade. But the Ku Klux Klan said that if he assumed office, that they would kill him within 48 hours.
You understand that? Meaning, like no matter what, the white man's going to be the devil. But let me tell you something. You're a lot harder to kill when you're 100 miles away. You're a lot harder to kill when you got your own people who, when a white man comes through, you understand, we gonna check him like if we roll through that neighborhood. Right. Like, who you going to see? He don't live around here.
Right.
You understand? No Mormons would be walking through the street trying to push that garbage that we used to prop our camp equipment with. You understand? I'll never forget that, seeing that book. Oh, sorry.
No sweat. A lot of blacks owned farmland, and many of them had gone into the oil business.
Come on, man.
The community was so tight and wealthy because they traded dollars hand to hand, and because they were dependent upon one another as a result of the Jim Crow laws.
And let me tell you something, man. That's damn near the beauty of the second Puerto Rican dispersion. You understand? Or diaspora that's happening right now from that migration from Puerto Rico over into Americas, because that means more and more of us are going to fill the ghettos together.
That's right.
That means more and more of us are going to come together. And the more and more that this devil's horns start to show that the man of perdition is revealed, the more and more that we're going to realize we have a common enemy and we're going to join together. That's right. Okay?
It was not unusual that if a resident's home accidentally burned down,
this is what's amazing,
it could be rebuilt within a few weeks by neighbors.
You understand that meaning? That once again, like Kat said, we had that much compassion for each other. And you want to hear something? This is what's even iller. This is all in the scriptures. We were living like this naturally before integration. You got that scripture? Read it for me nice and loud.
Ezra chapter 9, verse 12. Now therefore give not your daughters unto their sons.
You understand? Meaning that not only are we not supposed to integrate with them monetarily, which this scripture is going to get into. You understand that? But let me explain something to you, man. We shouldn't be dealing with they women. And let me explain something else to you. Our daughters shouldn't be dealing with they men. It goes both ways. You got brothers, you got to leave white women, Asian women, African women, all Arab women, all these women alone. Sisters, you need to leave that white man alone. You understand? Read on.
Neither take their daughters unto your sons.
Neither take their daughters unto your son. It goes both ways, okay?
Nor seek their peace.
Nor seek their what?
Their peace.
You understand that? That's what Black Lives Matter is about. Seeking their peace. That's what hands up, don't shoot is about. Seeking their peace. That's what we shall overcome is about. Seeking their peace. That's what all these groups, movements are all about. Seeking their peace. And that's why we lost their respect. Because the Arabs didn't try to speak their respect, and that's why they don't get stopped and frisked. That's why they don't get blown up. You understand that? Why? Because they will throw rocks at tanks. You understand that? Because they will if they could throw a rock at a damn Apache helicopter till that hellfire missile hits them.
Right.
You understand? They didn't seek their peace, and we should neither. Go ahead.
Okay, good.
Focus, man.
I did that. That's cap off.
Under the bus.
Right under the bus. Yeah, that's cap off. Nor seek their peace or their wealth forever.
What do you think integration was about? We got to go to the white businesses. We got to go to the white schools. What happens to our schools? You understand that the schools close down, prisons open up.
That's right.
School to prison pipeline. Point blank period. But prior to this, we could rebuild a neighbor's house if it burned down. It ain't affecting nobody because this was a mini Beverly Hills.
Right.
We had wealth. You understand? Read on.
That ye may be strong.
We may be what?
Strong.
And that's why we were able to help each other, uplift each other, because we had our own. We stuck with each other. Go ahead.
And eat the good of the land. And leave it for an inheritance.
Yeah, Aztec MC, damn right, triumphalism. You understand? And we had an inheritance.
Right.
But what happened? This is the problem, man. It's not good enough. I don't know if we're going to have too much time because I really want to get into this history. But when you read the book of Judith, man, we could have all the money in the world. But if we're not keeping the laws, statutes, and commandments, then our enemies can touch us.
That's right.
Then the KKK can make them threats, and it'll happen rather than them dying on their way over to us. You understand? Rather than the earth splitting and them falling into it, rather than Hurricane Matthew killing all of them. Why? Because we wanted to be Christians.
Right.
You understand that? Because we wanted to be little Africa instead of little Israel.
Right.
Because we wanted to be everything but what the Lord called us.
Right.
Point blank period. But if we did, we would have that divine protection.
Right.
You can't sit there and say money's going to save us. Money didn't save Black Wall Street.
Right.
But the laws, statutes, and commandments, but a superpower named Yahweh can.
That's
provided that we follow the light that his son Yahweh shall live. Because he tried to bring us back to this law. Yahweh shall the greatest black man ever lived. You understand that?
That's right.
Point blank period. I know that makes some of y'all mad too. Good. Swallow it. Read on.
To your children forever.
And that's what we needed, man. And that's what we had. But we're going to get back in it. We're going to find out what happened here. Give me Psalms 137, verse 7. It's like yourself, you don't mind, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna get right into the community flourish.
The community flourished from the early 1900s until June 1st, 1921. Massacre of non-military Americans in history of this country took place.
You understand that? The largest massacre of and Lord only knows what they did to the Gadites. You understand? I mean, these were Gadites, North American Indians getting killed with them because they were already migrated on the Trail of Tears, which they forget the thousands that they murdered then.
Right.
But I guess what? They weren't Americans because you put them on a reservation?
Right.
Yeah.
Salakia. Imagine walking out of the front door and seeing 1,500 homes being burned.
Wow.
So
how many?
1,500 homes being burned.
And 15, wait, you mean to tell me 600 businesses were destroyed, 1,500 homes But they want to say the death toll was only 70 people? Come on, man. You can't piss on my head and tell me it's raining, bro. That ain't never going to happen in life.
Right.
Survivors we interviewed think that the whole thing was planned because during that time that all this was going on, white families with their children stood around the borders of their community and watched the massacre.
And they what?
They watched the massacre.
You understand that? This was planned. They was watching this city burn like it was a bonfire. You understand? Watching it from the hilltops. Yeah?
The looting and everything, much in the same manner they would watch a lynching. The riots, they were caused by jealousy. And let me tell you something. The white man is jealous of everything. It don't matter what it is. You can never have nothing to yourself. We couldn't have a baseball league to ourselves. We couldn't have a city to ourselves. We can't have a song to ourselves. We can't have a culture. We can't have music. We can't have TV. We can't listen. That TV show Cage. If I can sidebar, I'm gonna just show you how devilish the white man is. Now the actor in Cage is married to a devil. You think that would be enough? No. The TV show Cage is about a black superhero. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but about the past 8 or 9 years, it's been Marvel and DC movies made, right? All white heroes.
Right.
Superman, Batman, the Hulk, Iron Man, Spider-Man, all of them. Black people ain't complain at all.
Right.
Here comes the brother Cage. The setting is in Harlem. It's supposed to be black people. And they're saying it's too black. You can't, like the white man, if there's never enough, like the scripture in Obadiah when it says, if a robber robbed you, wouldn't he leave some grapes? Wouldn't he leave something?
Right.
The white man don't want you to have nothing but what he gives you.
That's right. You know what makes me sick about that? Not one Christian pastor though speak out when they make the Son of God.
Right.
You understand? He a white boy.
Yeah.
Now one Christian pastor, but we've been saying it since '69. And now once again, it said that that they stood around them hilltops and they watched the massacre.
Yeah.
They stood on the borders and they watched this the same way you would watch a lynching. Almost 1,500 homes were destroyed in the 35 blocks that went up in flames. Over 3,000 black residents were murdered by the Ku Klux Klan-led Tulsa race riots. You want to hear something? Ain't nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
Let me take it a step further. You understand that? Read what you got.
Psalms chapter 137, verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem.
Let me tell you something, man. There was a time when Jerusalem was destroyed. And we better remember the children of Edom. Edom is the so-called white man. Edom is these same Ku Klux Klan members, man. Remember the day of Tulsa, Oklahoma. You understand what the Edomites did, man?
Who said, raise it, raise it.
Tear it down, tear it down. Go ahead.
Even to the foundation thereof.
Even to the foundation. And it said what? 35 blocks went up in flames. Go ahead.
Of Babylon.
Daughter of Babylon. This is the daughter of Babylon. You understand? The white man is a culture thief. He adopted. What do you think Alexander the Greek did when he went over into Babylon? They adopted all these cultures. They adopted all these things, and it went on into what? The Greco-Roman Empire. And America is just a continuation of Rome. Go ahead.
Who ought to be destroyed.
And they got to die for what they did in Tulsa. They got to die for what they did in recent times. They got to die for what they did to us during slavery, what they did in the Caribbean islands, what they did in South America, Central America, North America. Go ahead.
Happy shall he be.
Now this is where the good news comes in. Go ahead.
That rewarded thee as thou hast served us.
Let me tell you something. There's going to come a time when a black man named Jesus Christ is going to come and destroy America.
That's right.
You understand? When they're going to destroy them in their stronghold in America is going to be at the lake of fire, man. And what's going to happen? We're going to be on them chariots looking down the same way they were standing on them hilltops, wishing that this whole place burns. The same way they were standing around Jerusalem saying, raise it, raise it. We're going to be saying the same thing on them chariots as this place melts through the thermonuclear warfare because you reap what you sow.
Right.
Go ahead.
Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little one.
Let's take it a step further. Remember, the scripture says that right now we just fishing. That was the first order given by Yahweh. He said, come, I'll make you fishers of men. You understand? But it's going to come a time when we're going to be hunters. And we're going to hunt them in the clefts of the rock. We're going to hunt them from the missile silos they think they can hide in. We're going to hunt them from them bunkers that they buying everywhere. Go ahead.
Against the stone.
And when we can take their little ones and dash them against the stones, that's why when that little white baby got eaten by that alligator, I said, why Yahweh Shai? You didn't see the signs? That's negligence. And we created our little what was it? Petition.
Yeah.
Water. We made that petition.
You want that family go to jail,
Listen,
man.
that family had to go to jail. That mother should have been watching them, baby. That baby over there wading in the water. That little gator came over there and got himself a good meal. You know what I'm saying? Why wasn't anybody watching little Timmy? I don't get what happened. And when I seen the video the grandmother put out, I said, oh, he had blonde hair too? I said, oh. I went and got some arroz con pollo. I had a Corona. It was a good day. Because happy shall he be in that day, man.
That's right.
When the Lord destroys our enemies, man. Go ahead. Please.
Will praise thee with my whole heart.
Let me tell you something. I praise the Lord with my whole heart every time I hear about one of these devils die. Brother brought it up in class. He said, yeah, about that and white woman who committed suicide from the 12th floor of the building. I said, Baraka to Yahweh. Why Yahweh shot? Now we're going to hear one less story like Casey Anthony. You understand? Now, which I mean, she murdered her own baby. So, hey, that's white on white crime.
I encourage
I encourage it too. They did the world a favor. Just like that white woman. She probably found out how evil she Stop it. Never would they ever be that selfless. You understand? But point blank period. And as it goes on, you start to find out when they looked over the community, man, when they saw this, there was no insurance claims. You understand? And then this is what's even crazier. No money was given. Not a single dime of restitution was given to these people. You understand? And that's why the only real restitution that we're going to get is blood.
That's like they get restitution to the Jewish man from the Holocaust, and that didn't even take place on American soil. This took place on American soil. They give billions of dollars to Israel every year. That's why I understand, man. If you vote, use a sucker. I can't say what I would like to say. If you love America, use a sucker. Use a half a homo. If you love America, period. That's worse than a full homo.
Now, here's the worst part. Now, Cat, you know better than me.
I do.
Of course, what I'm about to say.
Oh, okay.
You understand? You know better than me. Now, deal. And after they rebuilt, what do you think that they did?
Oh, join the white man.
You damn right.
When they burned that city, listen, that's why I brought up the KKK earlier. The KKK was burning them crosses instead of them just, I'd rather die. I'd rather die knowing I died as a man than for them to burn crosses on my house, me accepting burning the crosses, and now I'm still getting killed. They burned down Wall Street, and then they resurrected it, but the white man ran it.
Now Isaiah 14.
This
This right here now, this is what's even wilder. And this ain't the first time this happened. This happened to the Gadites. This happened to the slaves. It says that we estimate 1,500 to 3,000 people were killed. That a lot of them were buried in mass graves all around the city. Some were thrown into the river. As a matter of fact, this is what's crazy, man. And one of them, they built the Sears parking lot. The devils built a Sears over the mass grave of these brothers and sisters. And that's why, let me tell you something. Big ups to Captain Akab for past slaughter.
Yeah, that brother got a banging lecture. Listen, if you in the Philly area, we probably gonna cook it. Let me tell you something. If you in the Philadelphia area, tri-state, down there up in PA, my main man, Captain Akkad Abaraya, just had a son too, by the way. He doing an assault on the black family October 8th at the UNIA ACL division. Captain Tazaria, I'll definitely be in the building. I believe the generals will be in the building. This is located at 1609 Isupk Moore Ave in Philadelphia, PA, from 6:30 to 8:30, man. Make sure y'all come up in that building. Support this brother, Captain Akkad, going to do an excellent breakdown and go through the history. Once again, we like to deal with real issues affecting the black community, man. If you don't recognize there's an assault, then you sleep.
So now, give me Isaiah 14 and 20.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 20.
It's talking about the devil in the earth, the so-called white man.
Thou shalt not be joyed with them.
Let me tell you something, man. A white man ain't gonna be joined with them in burial. You understand that? Let me explain something to you. All America is gonna be a mass grave.
Right.
You understand that? With anybody who wants to join these devils as well. But they ain't gonna be joined with them in burial. Why? Because thermonuclear warfare melts bones. You understand? Because thermonuclear warfare is gonna suck the eyeballs into the back of your head and melt your tongue in your mouth.
That's right.
It's gonna vaporize you. Go ahead.
Thou hast destroyed thy land
Go ahead.
and slain thy people.
And once again, this was America on America. You destroyed your land. You slaved the own people that you said that you're supposed to be protecting since you emancipated the slaves. Go ahead.
The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned.
Let me tell you something, man. There's gonna come a time where the white man is gonna be extinct. You're gonna see him stuffed in a museum like the saber-toothed tiger with a briefcase and a tie on. The Exhibit A. Go ahead.
Prepare slaughter.
Prepare what?
Prepare slaughter
Oh yeah, go ahead.
for his children, for the iniquities of their fathers.
Let me explain something. That means your descendants are gonna get it too, man. You understand that? Every single I wasn't around. Like, you know what I'm saying? we weren't even here. Like, I have nothing to do with that. You're gonna die too. Point blank, period. Prepare slaughter for the children for the iniquity of his fathers. You are a benefactor to their crimes. Go ahead.
That they do not rise nor possess the land,
Good.
nor fill the faces of the world with sin.
It's going to be illegal for white people to have their own city. For them to rise ever again, so that this way they can never do this again in the earth. And as Obadiah said, every single one of them shall be cut off by slaughter, and there shall be none remaining of the house of Esau.
Right.
And with that, this is Israelite Vibes on 101.5 WLNK Linkage Radio. The white man is the devil. Don't vote. Pay your tithes. Check out our other radio shows over on Monday. You understand that? And with that, shalom is.
I'm not letting nobody tell you crap. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you are a black man like me. And it's worth something.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, sold packs, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues. Call this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good record. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good shepherd. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain, something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword with a